Chapter 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuling pulled out a communicator from her storage bag. It wasn't watch style, but shaped like a smartphone. Tian glanced at Yuling's storage bag again, his initial excitement completely gone. If he had a medium space talent, he could create his own personal pocket dimension. Wouldn't that be way better than a measly storage bag? There's just no comparison between a storage bag and an internal space. This is my dad's communicator, Yuling explained. It's etched with special formations that slowly absorb vitality. Even after 20 years, it can still connect to another one. Sure enough, a red dot appeared on the screen, pinpointing the location of the black wolf's lair. Good thing it's not too far. Let's pick up the pace, we should be there in half a day, Yuling estimated. Alright, I'll take the lead. Just stick close. Tian moved ahead, Yuling following, and they raced toward the heavenly soul flower location. Along the way, Tian displayed his insane strength. No matter how tough the beast, it couldn't withstand a single blow from him. They were insta-killed. Some of these creatures were even fearsome to Yuling, yet Tian sliced them apart like they were watermelons. His strength is terrifying. I bet he's even stronger than an average grandmaster, maybe not much weaker than a freak like Yunfeng. Yuling thought to herself. Originally, she wasn't very hopeful about capturing the heavenly soul flower, but now she felt pretty confident. 8 heavenly soul flowers. Each flower is worth 10 billion, so 8 comes out to 80 billion. According to their agreement, she'd get 4, which is 40 billion, an unbelievable fortune, plus, they might find other treasures later, making it an even bigger score. Half a day went by. Tian and Yuling covered a lot of ground, running into several packs of high-level beasts along the way. Even Tian was a little nervous, but his super speed allowed him to escape danger with Yuling in tow, so, without incident, Tian and Yuling reached their destination. This secret realm is so dangerous. Tian, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I could have made it this far. Yuling exclaimed. Of course, she was only half telling the truth. Sure, she wasn't a match for those beasts, but as the young lady of the Yu family's main line, she definitely had some tricks up her sleeve. Tian didn't fully buy it. He figured she could have reached the heavenly soul flower even without him, but she wouldn't be able to take down that black wolf alone. We're partners, Yuling, so naturally I'll do my best to help. But you need to hold up your end, too. I'm guessing you have something to stop the black wolf's teleporting ability, otherwise, I'll have a tough time killing it, Tian said. Got it. Yuling was straight with him. I have a formation set. It's a one-time use thing, but it can disrupt the space within a few hundred meters for 3 seconds, weakening its teleportation. But it's only 3 seconds, then the formation's useless. This set cost 2 billion, and I had to call in some favors to get it. If I can't kill the black wolf, I'm toast. 3 seconds should be enough, Tian mused. He couldn't guarantee it, not until he actually saw the black wolf and assessed its abilities. Soon, Tian and Yuling approached the black wolf's lair. It was located halfway up a tall mountain, a huge cave that opened into another world. 8 heavenly soul flowers grew inside. When they were about 3,000 feet away, Tian heard a wolf howl, sounding like a challenge. Tian, it must have sensed us. Yuling said, her face grim. From that far away, Tian was surprised. If that was true, it must be the black wolf's spatial perception at work. Tian hadn't felt anything, so this weird ability was pretty scary. For a weak spatial talent to have this, it just showed how powerful the spatial talent really was, but the stronger the spatial talent, the more excited Tian became, because, once he killed the black wolf, that talent would be his. Let's just go straight at it, Tian. It already knows we're here. Yuling suggested. Tian agreed. The sooner they took care of the black wolf, the better. Whoosh, Tian and Yuling charged forward, reaching the entrance of the cave in the blink of an eye. Then, they entered. Inside was a vast space, with the top connected to the outside through a hole dozens of feet wide, letting in sunlight and making the cave bright. Nice setup. This black wolf knows how to pick a home. Tian remarked, rumble, starred at a powerful, savage aura filled the air. A black wolf silently materialized a short distance away, glaring at Tian and Yuling with angry eyes. Scan. Tian activated his copy talent to check the black wolf's abilities, species, Sky Moon Wolf, bloodline talent, top tier, spatial talent, medium, giant talent, medium. Tian was surprised by what he saw. The Sky Moon Wolf was something special. In the outside world, it'd already be a top-level beast, and a dangerous one at that. Not only did it have a medium spatial talent, but also a medium giant talent. Judging by the name, the giant talent let it grow in size, but Tian knew it couldn't be that simple. Getting bigger probably multiplied its strength and other physical abilities several times over. Yuling's father must not have known about this talent, probably because the Sky Moon Wolf hadn't used it back then. If Tian hadn't scanned the Sky Moon Wolf's talents, he might have underestimated it, which would have led to failure. Yuling, go set up the formation. I'll deal with this, Black Wolf, keep it busy. Let me know when the formation's ready, then listen to my instructions. Tian almost said Sky Moon Wolf, but caught himself just in time. Otherwise, he'd have a hard time explaining how he knew its name. Okay. Yuling agreed with Tian's plan. She quickly pulled out a disc from her storage bag, etched with mysterious patterns and giving off a faint ripple that slightly affected the space. If Tian successfully copied the spatial talent, he'd recognize the meaning of that fluctuation, space fluctuations. This disc was actually a one-time formation disc made by a space talent user and a formation master, which is why it could influence space, but it only affected spatial teleportation, making the speed slightly slower. It couldn't actually stop it completely. Formation that could completely stop teleportation was beyond her reach. It was just too valuable. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar. The Sky Moon Wolf roared at Tian, basically saying, "Human, get lost." It hadn't attacked immediately because it sensed a faint threat. It felt Tian was dangerous and hoped he'd just leave so they wouldn't have to fight. Swoosh. Star. Tian moved, faster than lightning. The Moon Wolf was caught off guard. If it wasn't for its teleportation ability, Tian would have left it in the dust. Got a bolt. Star. The Moon Wolf vanished. It wasn't just super speed, but spatial teleportation, ignoring all obstacles, making it way more impressive than simple speed. Tian's knife missed, slamming into the stone wall. That teleportation is insane. I didn't even catch a whiff of the lunar wolf. Tian was surprised, but the earlier skirmish gave Tian a rough idea of what he was dealing with. The Sky Moon Wolf's raw power wasn't that great, maybe the equivalent of 2 elephants, putting it on par with an elite martial artist. It was one of the weaker high-level beasts, but its spatial talent was off the charts. Teleporting all over the place made it impossible to hit, and if he couldn't hit it, how could he kill it? Whoosh! Tian and the Sky Moon Wolf were locked in a chase so fast even Yuling could barely track them. This is nuts. That black wolf's teleportation is broken, and Tian doesn't even have a spatial talent. How good is his speed? Is it some kind of hyperspeed thing? Yuling exclaimed. She couldn't even see him clearly, so guessing his speed was out of the question. All she knew was he was way faster than her. She refocused on the formation. Setting it up was simple: secure the array disk, channel energy into it, and let it slowly absorb energy from the surroundings. Once it hit critical mass, the formation's power would erupt. The whole thing took about 3 seconds. Almost there. Yuling watched the light on the disk and mentally counted down. A minute later, the array glowed. Tian, it's ready, Yuling whispered. Tian heard her. He knew the Forbidden Sky Array was prepped and could disrupt the Black Wolf's teleportation at any time. Yuling, do it, Tian yelled. Hearing Tian's order, Yuling activated the Forbidden Sky Array immediately. A spatial force spread. Even though Yuling couldn't sense space, she felt a suppressive force, like space itself was being locked down. That was when the Sky Moon Wolf, mid-teleport, stumbled. It paused briefly. Teleporting became way harder. Now's my chance. Tian didn't hesitate. 28 times the speed of sound. 10x strength. Shadow kill. Yi Tian was using shadow kill, not Qingfeng slash. Qingfeng slash could stack 6 times the attack, which was great, but Yi Tian didn't need that much power. Shadow kill's attack was roughly the power of 3 elephants. 3 elephants worth of power was plenty enough to deliver a fatal blow to the moon wolf. The main thing shadow kill had going for it was speed. With a 25x speed boost, Yi Tian's blade was moving 50 times faster than normal. Even a powerful grandmaster might struggle to react, and the Sky Moon Wolf, already hobbled by the teleportation interference, had no chance. Speed was everything. Yu Ling said the formation would affect the Sky Moon Wolf for 3 seconds, but Yi Tian wasn't banking on it, he was betting on his blade. The Sky Moon Wolf sensed it was about to die and, in a last-ditch effort, unleashed another talent, the giant talent. In a flash, the Sky Moon Wolf grew bigger, its strength and overall presence skyrocketing. The surge in power seemed to partially break the formation, and its teleportation ability was starting to come back online. Asterisk crack, star, the teleportation broke free and was about to get away. Just then, shadow kill hit, asterisk thwack, star, the blade slashed across the moonwolf's neck, almost cutting it in half. The next moment, the teleported Sky Moon Wolf appeared 50 meters away, collapsing to the ground, its life fading fast. What? It didn't even last a second. Yu Ling was stunned. She thought it would hold the Sky Moon Wolf for 3 seconds, but less than a second in, its space ability had shattered the formation, leaving the array disc in pieces. Seeing the Moon Wolf was dead, she sighed in relief. Yi Tian, I thought we were done for. Yu Ling walked over. Yi Tian also sighed. If he'd gone with the Qingfeng slash, the Sky Moon Wolf probably would have teleported away. Luckily, he'd planned for every outcome, hadn't taken Yu Ling's 3 seconds at face value, and accounted for the Sky Moon Wolf's giant talent. Even with the giant transformation, the Sky Moon Wolf's power surpassed 3 elephants, outstripping shadow kill, but it didn't matter. With speed like that, the Sky Moon Wolf's neck couldn't stand up to Yi Tian's blade. Seeing that the empty Moon Wolf had really lost its vitality and died completely, Yi Tian said, Yu Ling, I'm interested in the corpse of this black wolf and I'm going to take it away. Do you mind? Yu Ling waved him off. Of course not. You killed it, so it's yours. Besides, in her mind, the corpse of a high-level fierce beast wasn't worth much. Even the corpse of a top-tier beast paled in comparison to a heavenly soul flower. Let's go see the heavenly soul flower. Yu Ling couldn't wait. Yi Tian nodded and they headed for the heavenly soul flower's location. There it is. Yu Ling pointed at the stone wall where the heavenly soul flower grew. Surprised, there were 8 glowing heavenly soul flowers, radiating a faint white light. The flowers had matured, but the longer they were around, the better. There were levels to top-level cultivation talent. A heavenly soul flower that had been around longer created a better cultivation talent, maybe even increasing it by 2 or 3%, but Yi Tian and Yu Ling didn't want to wait, so they picked them. It really is the heavenly soul flower. I've seen it in the family's vault, but I wasn't allowed to use it. You needed to make a serious contribution to get one. Yu Ling was sure. She pulled out 8 jade boxes, plucked the heavenly soul flowers, and placed them inside. These rare elixirs could only be preserved in jade boxes. Yu Ling, there's a passage over there. I'm going to check it out. Yi Tian pointed to a passage in the distance, about the height of a person, and said. Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, let's go together, but watch your step, Yu Ling said casually. She hadn't noticed the passage earlier, and just assumed Yi Tian was curious when he headed toward it. I mean, it might not even be a passage, just a hole. What Yu Ling missed was the intense longing and excitement in Yi Tian's eyes. He couldn't take his eyes off that passage. Ever since they'd entered the cave, he'd felt this pull, and after they'd killed the Sky Moon Wolf, he'd checked it out, confirming it was the same feeling he'd had when he first saw the golden fruit, and that little passage was the source of it. There's gotta be something in there that boosts my copying talent, Yi Tian thought, his heart racing. The heavenly soul flower, which improved his cultivation talent, wasn't nearly as useful to him. He had no way of improving his copying talent and didn't even know where to start looking for something that could. Now, he'd finally found something. I have to get my hands on it, no matter what. Yi Tian clenched his fist, determined. Yi Tian went first, followed by Yu Ling. They walked towards the passage. It was short, only about 10 meters long. Then, Yi Tian realized that the air felt different, richer. It was like they'd stepped into another world. Inside was a huge space, several kilometers across, with a small lake in the middle. The water was flowing, which suggested it was connected to an underground river, creating a living lake inside the mountain. Growing on the lake was a lotus flower. It wasn't just any lotus, it was snow-white with faint golden lines around it, like the king of all flowers. Near the edge of the lake was a rock covered with thick animal skins and signs of fierce beasts. This is where the black wolf really lives. No wonder we didn't see it when we first came in and then it suddenly appeared. It must have been living here and teleported out when it sensed us entering the cave. Yu Ling said, understanding dawning in her eyes. Yi Tian nodded, acknowledging her explanation, but his gaze remained fixed on the lotus. That's what's causing the throbbing in my replication talent, that he desperately wanted it. Yu Ling finally noticed the change in Yi Tian's gaze and followed it to the lotus flower. At first, she didn't react, but then her face changed. Could that be the legendary Earth Surge Golden Lotus? Yu Ling exclaimed. Earth Surge Golden Lotus? What's that? Yi Tian asked, hoping to learn more. Yu Ling composed herself and explained, centuries ago, it was mentioned in a lot of novels, this sky, the earth-shown golden lotus, describing the vision of heaven and earth, but in fact, the smallpox and the earth-shown golden lotus are real. It is said that in ancient times, the ancients got the earth-shown golden lotus, and used the earth-shown golden lotus to obtain a lot of benefits, and became the immortal-like existence among the ancients. So the earth-shown golden lotus was gradually immortalized. Of course, the so-called immortal gods that appeared in ancient times are just warriors with special talents in modern times, and their strength may not be as good as some warriors, but they were regarded as immortals in ancient times. And the Earth Surge Golden Lotus is a special treasure. It's both incredibly valuable and, in some ways, completely useless. Yu Ling said, contradicting herself. Yi Tian was confused at first, but he soon understood. The Dion Golden Lotus was a treasure that could enhance any talent, regardless of its current level. Even someone with an extraordinary talent could use it to improve their innate abilities, but only in terms of its application, not the talent's level. For example, if someone with a top-level wind blade talent used an Earth Surge Golden Lotus, their wind blade talent would still be top-level, but the abilities of the wind blade would be transformed. The wind blade might change shape into a wind gun, a wind knife, or become much sharper. Basically, the Earth Surge Golden Lotus couldn't increase a talent's level, only modify its effects. Some changes would be useful, and some wouldn't. Rumor had it that someone used the Earth Surge Golden Lotus to create a phantom effect with their speed talent, making them incredibly fast. But the improvement in actual fighting power wasn't that great, however, because it could transform any level of talent. The Earth Surge Golden Lotus was one of the most expensive, yet potentially useful, treasures. The price was often disproportionate to the benefit, but plenty of people bought them anyway, hoping for a lucky transformation that would make their talents even more powerful. How much is it worth? Yi Tian asked. Yu Ling held up 5 fingers. Yi Tian stared at her. 50 billion. What? Yi Tian was floored. That was insane. It's not that expensive, Yu Ling explained. For a great martial artist, maybe it's too much, but what about grandmasters or king-level fighters? They wouldn't hesitate to drop 50 billion for even a small boost. So, the value of the Dion Golden Lotus depends on who's buying it. In a small base, it's not worth much, but in a big base like the Demon Sea, it's easily worth 50 billion. Yi Tian nodded. The value of a treasure depended on the market, not the thing itself. What one person didn't need, another would kill for. Makes sense. And for Yi Tian, the Earth Surge Golden Lotus was worth far more than to anyone else. It could create new possibilities for his copying talent, and potentially a very useful change. Yi Tian guessed that the golden fruit he found also had a similar effect, but that golden fruit could also improve cultivation talent. Maybe it was worth as much as this earth surge golden lotus, or maybe even more. Looking intently at Yuling, Tian said, Yuling, I really want this Diong golden lotus. I'm willing to trade 3 heavenly soul flowers for it. 3 heavenly soul flowers are worth 30 billion, and if we split the Diong golden lotus, you'd get 25 billion. You wouldn't be losing out. That's true, but you'd be getting the short end of the stick since you did most of the work here. I can't do that. How about this, you only give me 2 heavenly soul flowers, and the earth surge golden lotus is all yours. Yuling suggested. They both agreed to the deal. In this operation, Tian obtained 1 void moon wolf corpse, 2 heavenly soul flowers, and 1 earth surge golden lotus. Such a massive haul completely dwarfed Tian's entire net worth. In less than half an hour, Tian's wealth had exploded. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuling was stoked. 6 heavenly soul flowers were like having $60 billion. Of course, just cashing them out would be the dumbest move any family would kill for a heavenly soul flower. They're practically priceless. She could give them to the Yu family and get contribution points, which she could then trade for those treasures she'd always wanted. Plus, the Yu family would get 6 new geniuses with amazing cultivation potential, making them even stronger. It was a win-win-win. Whoosh! Tian activated his speed, zipped over to the lake, gently plucked the earth surge golden lotus, then bounced back, smooth as silk. He stared at the lotus, itching to swallow it whole, but he resisted. Yuling, I'm gonna eat the earth surge golden lotus. Can you watch my back? Whatever happens, don't interrupt, Tian said. Sure, but are you sure you want to just eat it? Seems like a waste. You could sell it for a fortune, Yuling suggested. Nah, I'm curious. Maybe it'll make my talent even better. Tian said with a grin. Alright, your call, Yuling didn't push it. It was his lotus, after all. He could do whatever he wanted with it, even if it was dumb. Yuling stood back, keeping a close eye on Tian, and Tian swallowed the earth surge golden lotus in one gulp. The massive lotus dissolved into a stream of pure energy in his mouth, flowing down into his stomach. Then, a wave of gentle power washed over his mind, and then, Tian's head started throbbing like crazy. He was absorbing the earth surge golden lotus's immense energy, but he was handling it better than last time. He didn't pass out, at least, rumble. Inside his mind, tiny sparks of light appeared. The golden sparks representing his replication talent began to soak up the lotus's energy, transforming. Tian, his mind deep inside, finally noticed what was happening. Whoa! He stared at the sparks. They seemed so close, but he couldn't quite reach them. But he knew what they were. Those sparks are the marks of my talents. The golden ones must be the replication talent. Tian figured. Replication talents are considered top tier because they can copy any other talent. Among all his talent marks, replication shone the brightest, most powerful of all. The others orbited around it, like loyal subjects bowing before their king. He could clearly feel the change in his replication talent. The earth surge golden lotus's energy was fueling a special evolution. About 5 or 6 hours crawled by. Finally, buzzed. The replication talent shuddered, the transformation complete. Tian instantly felt a wave of relief in his mind. His mental power had gotten a bit stronger, but not by much. Tian knew that was just a bonus. The real change was in his replication talent. Time to see what's different about my replication talent. Tian was practically bursting with anticipation. First up, the range. Before, he could sense talents within 200 meters. Now, he could actually pick up the talent of some low-level beast outside the cave, 500 meters away. Any farther than that, and he lost the signal. That meant his replication talent's detection range had jumped to a radius of 500 meters. That was huge. Copying other talents was going to be way easier now. He could practically swipe people's talents while they were chilling at home. Next up, Tian checked out the Sky Moon Wolf's talents. Species, lunar wolf, bloodline talent, top, replicable, spatial talent, medium, replicable, giant talent, medium, replicable. Before, Tian couldn't copy the Sky Moon Wolf's talents because his replication was on cooldown. But now, he could copy again. What the heck? Tian was confused. After a little digging, he finally got it. He could copy talents more often. He used to be limited to 1 copy a month, but now he could do it twice. And since he'd already used one, he had another one ready to go. Awesome! Eating that Earth Surge Golden Lotus was the smartest thing I've ever done. I wouldn't care if it cost me 10 Heavenly Soul Flowers. Tian was so hyped, he almost jumped up and shouted. But then he remembered Yuling was still there. I'll take this opportunity of eating the Earth Surge Golden Lotus to copy and fuse the Sky Escape Moon Wolf's medium space talent. Even if there are changes to my body, the Lotus should cover it up. If I don't do it now, I'll be with Yuling all the time in the future, and I won't have a chance to fuse. No time like the present. Copy. Fuse. In an instant, the medium space talent flooded into Tian's body, rumble. The fusion began. The changes brought on by the medium space talent were massive, even greater than what he'd felt with the top-tier talents. Tian was in agony, the pain almost splitting his soul. He was shaking like a leaf, covered in cold sweat. Droplets streamed down his body, soaking his clothes and the ground beneath him. An ordinary person would have dehydrated and died, but Tian was a martial artist. He could handle it, even if it sucked. Nearby, Yuling stared at Tian, totally bewildered. What was with all the sweat? And that pained expression? It looked like he was being tortured. Was eating the Earth Surge Golden Lotus really that rough? She had no clue. The Dion Golden Lotus will inexplicably transform its talent, and no one knows what it will look like. Maybe this is a side effect of Tian's talent being transformed. Yuling guessed. Soon, Tian's medium spatial talent fusion was complete. Human, Tian, cultivation talent, top, speed talent, top, knife talent, advanced, shadow talent, elementary, healing talent, top, strength talents, high, endurance talents, medium, defense talent, medium. Spatial talent, medium. Seeing the medium space talent listed at the bottom, Tian couldn't contain his excitement. In his mind, this so-called medium space talent was more precious than any of his top-tier talents. Spatial talent. Tian focused on his spatial talent, immediately sensing the intricacies of space. It was like he could move things with his mind, teleporting them. He could also sense other places through space, like a sixth sense, and he could even create a portable space, as if it were an instinct. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First, hit the showers, you're all sticky. Tian frowned, took a sniff of himself, and quickly hopped into the lake. After cleaning up, he circulated his qi and blood to raise his body temperature, drying his clothes in no time. Guess you don't really need a dryer when you're a martial artist, huh? Tian, you alright? Yuling asked, walking over. Yeah, I'm fine. Tian shook his head. More than fine. He'd struck gold, but he couldn't exactly share that with Yuling. Tian, any changes to your talent? Yuling asked, curious. Not sure yet. I just feel like my mental strength got a boost. Haven't noticed anything else. Tian replied. Try testing your talent some more. Maybe you'll spot something, Yuling said, trying to encourage him. Secretly, though, she figured his talent probably hadn't changed much, and the Golden Lotus had been wasted. But she didn't want to discourage him, so she stuck to the pep talk. She was way off. Let's get going. Tian had what he came for. No point hanging around, better to find some more opportunities elsewhere. Yuling readily agreed, following him out of the cave. Before they left, Tian asked Yuling to stash the empty moon wolf corpse in her storage bag. He'd said he wanted the wolf, after all, and even though it was useless to him now, he couldn't suddenly change his tune without raising suspicion, so, he had to ask Yuling for a favor. The void moon wolf corpse wasn't big, so Yuling obliged. On the trail, Tian quietly studied his spatial talent. Ling couldn't sense the space fluctuations, so she was none the wiser about his secret training. If she had been, she'd be floored. Before long, Tian had mastered spatial perception and spatial imprints, along with teleportation, plus, he realized he could combine spatial imprints and teleportation. He could leave a spatial imprint in one spot and then teleport to it from anywhere. Basically, targeted teleportation. But with Ling around, that experiment would have to wait. Time to unlock my personal space. Tian was thrilled about this ability. With his own pocket dimension, he could carry tons of stuff without lugging it around. Of course, he'd have to do it on the down low so Ling wouldn't catch on. He just needed to use his spatial talent to leave a spatial imprint on his body, then channel spatial power into it, carve out a tiny space, and expand it. How much space he could create depended on his talent level and raw power. Alright, let's do this. Tian left a spatial imprint on a bone cell in his left wrist, then, he started feeding spatial power into the imprint. Rumble. The spatial power converged, triggering a transformation. The spatial imprint on the bone cell punched a hole in the fabric of space, opening up a separate dimension. As he poured in more power, Tian felt a tiny point materialize in his mind. This little dot became the origin, and after absorbing a ton of spatial power, it slowly turned into a tiny space, about a cubic centimeter in size. That wasn't nearly big enough. It could get bigger. The more spatial power he pumped in, the larger the space grew. After about 10 minutes, the space was finally a cubic meter, but Tian hadn't hit his limit yet. He could keep expanding it. Half a day later, Tian finally maxed out. No matter how much spatial power he channeled, the space wouldn't grow any further. He focused his mind into the space for a closer look. It was like a cubic room, 5 meters on each side, giving him a total of 125 cubic meters of storage. That was huge, way bigger than most storage bags. Ling had a pretty good one, and even hers, according to her, was only 30 cubic meters, and it couldn't hold that much. Plus, storage bags could be snatched, and then everything was gone, but his personal space was unstealable. Even if someone chopped off his arm, he could still access it. No way anyone could take it unless they could destroy the space itself, and spatial dimensions were tough to crack. Bottom line, having his own pocket dimension was a game changer. After unlocking his personal space, Tian secretly transferred some valuables from his pack into it, like the 2 heavenly soul flowers. He quietly moved them over. He also transferred several centuries-old medicinal herbs to his personal space. The rest of his stuff stayed in the pack, just to keep up appearances. Bang. In the distance, the sound of a fight broke out. Judging by the vital energy fluctuations, it was a big one. Ling, someone's fighting, or maybe a beast, Tian said. The sound of the battle was only 10 miles away, which wasn't far for a great warrior. Let's check it out, Ling suggested. Tian nodded, and they headed towards the commotion. When they were still 3 miles away, Tian used his spatial perception to scout ahead. Whoosh! Spatial perception waves rippled out, reaching an incredible speed. It was like Tian's senses had warped space and landed 3 miles away. He could see everything. That's how powerful spatial perception was. It not only reached farther, but it also gave a clearer picture. Spiritual power perception could only give a rough sense of things, nothing as detailed as what Tian was seeing. Warriors. Tian saw 5 warriors ganging up on a fierce beast. Near the beast, a small, fiery red plant was growing, its leaves flickering with flames. It looked extraordinary. What kind of plant is that? Tian's lack of knowledge meant he couldn't ID it, but Ling might. The 5 warriors were all powerhouses, and 2 had offensive talents. They were top tier. The high-level beast they were fighting also had an offensive talent. If they took their time and played it smart, they could take the beast down with minimal injuries, but they were going wild, unleashing everything they had, not worrying about stamina, even trading blows to ensure a quick kill. They're in such a rush. That plant must be special, Tian guessed. Ling, let's pick up the pace, Tian told Ling. Okay. Ling didn't know what was going on up ahead, but she followed Tian, picking up speed. The dense trees in the secret realm hampered their progress, though. Ling struggled to keep her balance, nearly slamming into a tree. 10 seconds later, they crossed the 3-mile gap. Yi Tian and Yuling reached the battlefield. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Yi Tian and Yuling got there, a group of 5 martial artists had just finished off a monster. Someone's coming. One of them barked, *whoosh, a guy raced over to the flame grass, snatched it up, and stuffed it into a storage bag, but Yuling saw the whole thing. That's fire spirit talent grass. She blurted out, *whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh, suddenly, the 5 martial artists were radiating hostility, and they surrounded Yi Tian and Yuling. Zhang Kai, what do you think you're doing? Yuling snapped, pointing at one of the martial artists. Zhang Kai sneered, Yuling, you saw what that fire spirit talent grass is worth. You know what that means, right? You really think I'm gonna let you walk away from this? That Yuling's face fell. She knew exactly what Zhang Kai was implying. If the shoe were on the other foot, she might do the same thing. It wasn't just about the fire spirit talent grass. The Yu and Zhang families were also business rivals, practically enemies. They couldn't make a move in Demon Sea Base because of the rules. They could only duke it out in the marketplace, but this was a secret zone. It was the perfect chance to eliminate some of the other families' talent. Take them both out. We can't let word get out about the Zhang family getting the fire spirit talent grass, Zhang Kai said, his voice dripping with malice. Yes, young master. The other 4 replied. They were all top-tier fighters from the Zhang family, sent to the secret zone to back Zhang Kai up and help him score big. The Zhang family didn't have a ton of heirs, so they could afford to burn through resources like this. The Yu family, on the other hand, had too many kids. That's why Yuling was able to give Yi Tian a spot, which made a lot of people unhappy. All 5 were great martial artists pushing their limits. Zhang Kai figured that even if Yuling had some bronze-level sword skills, she was no match for them. And as for the guy standing next to her, they weren't even worried about him. They knew most of the strong fighters in Demon Sea Base, and Yi Tian wasn't on the list. Probably just some nobody. Yuling, you think these guys are killable? Yi Tian asked. Totally, Yuling said with a nod. She couldn't take Zhang Kai and his crew, but Yi Tian could. She'd seen his strength firsthand. He was on par with Yun Feng, the top dog in Demon Sea Base, probably top 10. Zhang Kai wouldn't even crack the top 100. Alright, then waste M, Yi Tian said casually, like he was signing their death warrants. Ha! You think you can take us? They all started laughing. In the blink of an eye, they charged toward Yi Tian and Yuling, ready to wipe them out. Shadow kill, a soft voice whispered in their ears. Then, everything went black. Their last thought was, wait, that body looks familiar, thud. 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 *5 headless corpses hit the ground. Yuling was stunned. Again, she'd seen Yi Tian fight before, but it still blew her mind every time. Zhang Kai was no slouch, a genuine talent in Demon Sea Base. He and Yuling were neck and neck, but he was a little stronger since he was at his peak. But even so, Yi Tian had just mowed down 5 of them. Yi Tian looted the bodies, snagging 2 storage bags. Okay, now we got some cover. Yi Tian was thrilled. He hadn't dared to stash his loot in his personal space, afraid Yuling would notice. But now that he had a storage bag, he could use that as a front. Whether he put stuff in the storage bag or his personal space, nobody would question it. Yuling would just assume he was using the bag. The storage bag was just a disguise for his real stash. Yuling, 2 storage bags. 1 for each of us. Yi Tian said. Yuling was a mess of nerves and excitement. Yi Tian, can we take out the fire spirit talent grass? I want to get a look at it. Sure, Yi Tian said with a nod. The owner was dead, so he and Yuling claimed one of the storage bags. They pulled out the fire spirit talent grass. It's a 3 spirit level. Yuling gasped. She was even more pumped than she had been about the heavenly soul flower. Yi Tian noticed her reaction and knew this fire spirit talent grass must be something special. It wasn't just Zhang Kai and his boys who were after it, even Yu Ling was losing it. Yu Ling, what's so great about this fire spirit talent grass, anyway? Yi Tian asked. Yu Ling looked at him, hesitated, then pleaded, Yi Tian, you can have everything in the 2 storage bags, just let me have this fire spirit talent grass. I'll even give you another 50 billion worth of treasure as compensation. Yu Ling, what's it good for? If it's really that important to you, I'll let you have it, Yi Tian said. Yu Ling finally explained the fire spirit talent grass's effects. It can give martial artists new talents. And this is a 3 spirit level. If a great martial artist or grandmaster uses it, it could give them a basic flame talent. Even king-level fighters can use it, but they'll only get a weak flame talent. Still, it's incredibly valuable. For example, if a king-level fighter without any special talents gets this fire spirit talent grass, it could boost their combat power significantly. Hearing this, Yi Tian finally understood why everyone was going nuts. It was similar to his copying talent, but not as good. At best, it could only give someone a basic flame talent, which he didn't really care about. But other martial artists would kill for it. Special talents were rare. Most people didn't have any, even the most gifted fighters. Yi Tian, our Yu family has a king-level ancestor, but he's just a strong fighter. He doesn't have any special talents. If I give him this fire spirit talent grass, his power could increase by 1 or 2 times, which would be huge for our family. You already have a ton of talents, and they're all amazing. The fire spirit talent grass won't do much for you, at most it would just give you another way to attack. So please, let me have it. Yu Ling begged. Yi Tian pretended to think about it for a minute, then said, all right, fine. You can have it. Yu Ling was so happy she could barely contain herself. Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There were tons of valuable things in those storage bags, ancient medicinal herbs, some hundreds of years old, and even some treasures worth a fortune. After all, Zhang Kai and his crew had a pretty good haul from the secret realm, and it wasn't just that fire spirit talent grass, plus, the storage bags themselves were a prize. You couldn't get one for less than 2 billion, even if you had connections, so, Yi Tian gave away a fire spirit talent grass that wasn't much use to him, but ended up making a killing with all the other treasures and the storage bags. Total win. Next, Yi Tian got to work sorting through everything. The really expensive stuff went into his personal storage space, and the rest went into one storage bag. The other one he left empty and stashed in his clothes, keeping only one bag visible. Yu Ling, meanwhile, was acting like she was guarding Fort Knox, protecting the fire spirit talent grass like it was the Hope Diamond. Yi Tian couldn't help but think she was being a little extra, like she'd never seen anything remotely valuable before. Once they were done sorting, they moved on. Later, on the trail, Yu Ling finally spoke up. Yi Tian, I don't think I should keep searching for treasure. This fire spirit talent grass is too important to my family. I want to get out of here ASAP. This place is too dangerous, and something bad could happen any minute. I don't matter, but the fire spirit talent grass can't be lost. Yi Tian gave her a long look. He knew exactly what she was thinking. It was the safe play. Get out early, no risks. As for other treasures, she didn't care. All right, I'll take you. But I'm not leaving. I'm staying until the end. Yi Tian made it clear. Of course. With your strength, you'll be fine as long as you don't mess with the really nasty beasts or Yunfeng, Yu Ling said, understanding completely. She wasn't about to ask Yi Tian to waste his time leaving with her. That wouldn't make sense. He could get a lot more out of staying in the secret realm, and anyone would want to do that. With that settled, Yi Tian led Yu Ling to the spatial rift. What Yu Ling didn't know was that Yi Tian was secretly thrilled. He'd wanted to go solo for a while now, but he felt obligated to stick with Yu Ling. Now that she was taking the initiative to leave, he was free to roam. With his abilities, he could really clean up in the secret realm, harvesting resources like crazy. this could be enough to support him and his sister for years. 2 days later, Tian finally got Yuling to the spatial rift. They'd run into some close calls along the way, including a pack of seriously nasty beasts, each one packing more punch than Yuling. Tian could have saved himself, no problem, but Yuling would have been toast, so, he had to focus on getting her to safety. After one near disaster after another, Yuling was a nervous wreck, her nerves completely shot. Now that she saw the spatial crack overhead, she finally relaxed, practically collapsing with relief. Nobody here, Tian confirmed. It was still pretty early, the 1-month mark wasn't up yet. Everyone else was still out hunting for treasures and opportunities, so of course they weren't leaving early like Yuling. After chilling for half an hour so Yuling could catch her breath, she said goodbye to Tian. Tian, be careful in there. I'm heading out. Later, Tian said, waving. Yuling took a hop, skipped into the spatial crack floating in midair, and vanished in a flash. Before he got his spatial talent, Tian couldn't sense the power of space, but now he could see it all clearly. When Yuling entered the rift, a spatial force enveloped her and teleported her out. He couldn't do that yet, but he was sure that as his spatial talent grew, it would become easy. Outside, Yuling emerged from the spatial crack. The power of the secret realm couldn't reach out here, so she wasn't flung out, but came out directly from the rift. The grandmasters from all the major families spotted her right away. Whoosh! Yuben was there in a heartbeat, shielding her. Yuling, what are you doing out here so early? That Yuben asked, frowning. Elder, we ran into a terrible beast. I was close to the rift, so I ran for it. I had to come out early to save myself. Yuling said helplessly, her face looking so distraught that she totally fooled the grandmasters from the other families. The grandmasters immediately started secretly gloating, snickering at the Yu family's misfortune. Let's talk about this back on the wind boat, Yuben said, leading Yuling to the Yu family's wind boat. After Yuling and the others had entered the secret realm, the people from the major families had stayed put, worried that someone might come out early and need protection. This was wild country, after all, and wild beasts were a constant threat. Someone had to guard the entrance to the spatial rift. The wind boat wasn't flying, but sitting on the ground, saving energy. Inside the boat, Yuben activated the soundproofing formation. Yuling, there's nobody else here. Let's cut the crap. You can fool them, but you can't fool me. I can feel your blood racing. You're excited. Yuben called her out. Elder, you better get the ancestor, Yuling said, dropping a bomb. The ancestor? He doesn't just show up on a whim. What did you find? Yuben asked, shocked. Fire spirit talent grass. Yuling said point blank. She wasn't worried about Yuben getting greedy, because she knew he was the most trustworthy person in the family. Plus, the ancestor was his grandfather. He couldn't hide anything from him. Are you serious? Fire spirit talent grass? Yuben asked, getting excited. 3 spirits, Yuling replied. 3 spirits is rare. It could give a king-level powerhouse a weak or inferior flame talent. The ancestor doesn't have any special talents. If he gets his hands on the fire spirit talent grass, his power will skyrocket. The Yu family will be unstoppable. Yuben didn't waste any time. He grabbed his communicator and started messaging the Yu family ancestor. Less than 10 seconds later, a king-level aura rolled in from a distance, shocking all the families. Another king? The grandmasters were stunned. Brother Yu, what brings you here? The Yunha king appeared, hovering in the air, looking at a middle-aged martial artist flying toward them. The middle-aged martial artist was also flying, and in a heartbeat, he arrived. It was the ancestor of the Yu family, a king-level powerhouse, Yuling. King Yunha, I'm here on family business. I won't break the rules, Yuling said before diving into the Yu family's wind boat. Everyone immediately knew something big was happening. It had to involve Yuling. Could Yuling have found some kind of treasure that got the king-level ancestor all riled up? The Grandmasters wondered. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No one dared touch whatever Ling brought out. To do so would invite the wrath of a king-level expert, showing them true despair. This wasn't a major demon sea base, so a king-level figure wouldn't be punished for killing them even if their families sought revenge later, they'd be long gone. Besides, they wouldn't dare inform their family elders. Doing that without knowing what was happening would be suicidal. While the other grandmasters hesitated to seize the unknown treasure, King Yunhe became intrigued. He was far stronger than the Yu family elder and had a chance to defeat Yu Ben, who wasn't particularly talented among the king level. Of course, kings didn't battle each other lightly unless the stakes were high enough. King Yunhe had no reason to antagonize Yu Ling. But that didn't mean he wasn't curious. So, Yunhe Wang used his spatial perception, trying to see through the layers of space. He failed. A king-level expert could block spatial perception, making a covert scan impossible. My spatial talent is only primary. If it were higher, Yu Ling couldn't block me. Inside the Yu family's Yufeng boat, the Yu family elder looked urgently at Yu Ling. You're Yu Ling, right? He asked. Yes, elder. Yu Ling was nervous. She'd only seen the elder a few times during major family events, standing in the crowd. This was their first direct conversation. She was just a great martial artist, while the elder was king level. Even grandmasters felt nervous around someone that powerful. The fire spirit talent grass, do you have it? The elder asked. I do. Yu Ling retrieved a large jade box from her storage bag. Inside was a smaller jade box, containing the fire spirit talent grass. Yu Ling's gaze locked onto the grass. It was blood red, with a faint flame radiating from it. The fire spirit talent grass had 3 leaves, each marked with a flame pattern, indicating its 3 spirit level. A 3 spirit level fire spirit talent grass would be incredibly useful. Yu Ling exclaimed, looking at Yu Ling kindly. This is invaluable. What reward do you want? Elder, I want a chance to visit the Enlightenment Monument once I reach the Grandmaster limit. Yu Ling requested. The Stone Tablet of Enlightenment. Yu Ben, listening nearby, was shocked. He hadn't been allowed to use the Enlightenment Stone, as it was a core family asset from a mysterious source. Yu Ling's talent wasn't extraordinary, it was merely top tier. His rise to king level was due to the Enlightenment Stone. The Enlightenment Stone's power wasn't unlimited. Its aura faded after each use, and the Yu family's stone could only be used a few more times. It was reserved for emergencies, so none of the Yu family grandmasters qualified. This. Yu Ling hesitated. The fire spirit talent grass was valuable, but only to him. Elder, I also have 6 heavenly soul flowers, enough for our family to produce 6 top-tier geniuses. Yu Ling produced the heavenly soul flowers. Heavenly soul flowers? 6 of them. Yu Ling was stunned. While less useful than the fire spirit talent grass, the heavenly soul flower was a rare treasure. The Yu family had only ever possessed one, kept in the treasure vault. It was never given away unless there was a significant contribution, because once it was used, it was gone. The Yu family was helpless in the matter. 6 more flowers would significantly boost the Yu family's strength. Some Yu family members had incredible special talents, including high-level offensive abilities, but lacked cultivation talent, hindering their progress. Combat geniuses like that were hard to utilize, but the heavenly soul flower changed things. When they took it, their cultivation talent rose to the top, letting them reach the Grandmaster limit and surpass ordinary Grandmasters in combat. When a king-level talent wasn't available, the major families relied on their ultimate Grandmaster fighters, so, 6 heavenly soul flowers were a huge deal. Elder, with 6 heavenly soul flowers, I believe many leaders will agree to open the Enlightenment Stone Tablet. Yu Ling said. Okay, I agree. Yu Ling nodded. If it was just the fire spirit talent grass, granting Yu Ling's request would be selfish. With 6 heavenly soul flowers, the family's opposition would be minimized. He could grant Yu Ling's wish. Thank you, Elder, Yu Ling exclaimed excitedly. Her long-cherished dream had come true. Her cultivation talent was only top tier, and she risked everything, losing a treasure her core subordinates retrieved from the Lake of Death to reach it. Improving beyond the top level was difficult, it might be the best she could ever achieve. The success rate for top-tier cultivators reaching king level was less than 1%. Without a special opportunity, she'd never reach it. She didn't want to remain at the Grandmaster limit forever. The family's Enlightenment Stone offered a glimmer of hope, supposedly increasing the chances by 20%, that gave her about a 2 in 8 chance of becoming king level. Even if the odds were still low, it was hope. If she found more treasures to raise the success rate in the future, maybe she could become a king. That's why she contributed the fire spirit talent grass and 6 heavenly soul flowers. Now, it was happening. Tears of joy streamed down her face. Chapter 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uncharted, Tian had no idea that Ling had given all her fire spirit talent grass and 6 heavenly soul flowers to the family to try and reach the king level. If he knew, he'd just sigh. For him, hitting the king level wasn't a problem. His cultivation talent had become extraordinary, even better than the average extraordinary talent, a result of merging extraordinary and top-tier abilities. About half a mile away, there's a 500-year-old He Shou Wu. Tian scanned the area and spotted the herb growing in a crack. He was stoked. Spatial perception made finding medicinal herbs easy. With Ling gone, he could finally go wild collecting them without holding back. Swish, star. In an instant, Tian was at the plant, carefully digging it up, putting it in a temporary wooden box, and storing it in his personal space. Keep looking, star. The secret realm was loaded with ancient medicinal ingredients, and Tian could easily find them. To him, the secret realm was a natural treasure trove. It also had a ton of high-level beasts, each a source of valuable blood. Aside from herbs, collecting that blood was Tian's main goal. In the outside world, there were plenty of high-level beasts, but hunting them openly invited trouble with even stronger apex predators. It was too risky. Here in the secret realm, the strongest creatures were just high-level. No need to worry about being hunted by some super beast. In the past, Tian would have worried about carrying all that blood, but now, with 2 storage bags and his personal space, he could haul a serious load. Half a month zipped by. Tian spent it hunting high-level beasts and grabbing medicinal herbs. Thanks to his top-tier healing talent, he survived countless attacks. He lost track of how many creatures he killed. All he knew was that his personal space and bags were nearly full. No more hunting. I've got nowhere to put anything. Tian abandoned the hunt, but there were still treasures to find, especially those underground. Spiritual power couldn't penetrate the earth easily, but his spatial perception could ignore rock and soil. Several times, he'd sensed veins, but never Yuanqi stone, just metals like copper, iron, and silver. Those veins were still valuable, but Tian couldn't really mine them solo. How much could he even collect? Even filling his personal space wouldn't bring in millions, far less than the beast blood and herbs, so he passed on the metal. 10 days left. One more search, focusing on the Yuanqi stone vein. If I can't find it, I'm out of here. Tian figured the Yuanqi stone vein would be in a spot with a super high concentration of Yuanqi, but the secret realm was huge, and Tian's perception range was limited. It was tough to pinpoint where the Yuanqi was strongest. Otherwise, he would have found the Yuanqi stone vein long ago. After 2 more days of fruitless searching, Tian was ready to quit. But then, as if the heavens were taking pity, he got a break. What? Tian locked his gaze on a mouse about 100 yards away. It was a purple mouse with golden eyebrows. Something special, and when Tian checked its talent, it blew him away. Species: purple treasure rat. Bloodline talent: top. Treasure hunt talent: high. A purple gold treasure rat with a treasure hunting talent. Tian felt like the universe was on his side. A high-level treasure hunting talent was super rare. Tian desperately wanted to copy it, but his copying talent was still on cooldown. By the time it refreshed, he'd be gone, so he needed to catch this rat and make it find treasures for him, ideally the Yuanqi stone vein. Whoosh, star. Tian teleported to the rat. The purple gold treasure rat was busy hunting treasure when Tian appeared. It tried to bolt, but Tian snatched it up. Rumble. Thanks to his strength, talent and yuan power, Tian's grip was like the force of 5 elephants moving at lightning speed. The rat never had a chance. Little guy, surrender, and I won't kill you. Otherwise. Tian threatened. It felt wrong to threaten such a cute little creature, but hey, humans and beasts were enemies, right? Morality didn't matter. Squeak squeak. The rat squealed, sounding furious. But when Tian unleashed a wave of killing intent, it went quiet, then it nodded like crazy, as if saying, okay, I surrender. You know how to pledge allegiance, right? Tian smirked. The rat waved its tiny paws, as if saying, you big meanie, that's not fair. Pledge allegiance. Tian tightened his grip, squeezing the rat's body until it squeaked again, this time from breaking bones. The purple gold treasure rat panicked. It wasn't just any beast. It was a purple gold treasure rat. It had eaten countless rare and valuable treasures. It was smarter than most people and it hated dying. Seeing that Tian was serious, it quickly sent a wisp of its soul to Tian's mind. With that, the pledge was complete. Master, a girl's voice echoed in Tian's mind. You're a girl. Tian finally paid attention to the rat's gender. He flipped the rat over, examining it closely. Yup, definitely a girl. Master, you big creep, the rat snapped in Tian's mind. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian didn't pay any attention to the Zijin treasure mouse chattering. Hey, Zijin treasure mouse, how about I give you a name? Let's call you Xiao Zi. He paused, waiting for a response. Xiao Zi seemed pretty happy with that. Xiao Zi, Tian asked, a bit of hope in his voice, can your treasure hunting thing help us find any yuan qi stone veins around here? Yuan qi stone. I know where some are. Xiao Zi eagerly lifted her tiny paw. Really? Tian's eyes lit up. He hadn't expected Xiao Zi to know about any yuan qi stones, but thinking about it, it made sense. Xiao Zi had been in this secret realm for who knows how long. With her talent, she'd have to know where a ton of treasures were, and yuan qi stones definitely counted. Xiao Zi, take me to them, Tian directed. Follow me. Xiao Zi took off, leading the way, but Xiao Zi was too slow. In the end, Tian just carried her, and Xiao Zi just pointed the way. After a day and a half of running, Tian, guided by Xiao Zi, was closing in on the destination, but the scene wasn't what he'd hoped for. Corpses. Tian spotted the body of a martial artist. Judging by its condition, it had been there for a while. Spatial awareness. A wave of energy spread out, probing ahead. Soon, another body of a martial artist appeared in Tian's sight. Found over a dozen corpses. Tian frowned. From what he could see, the yuan qi stone vein nearby had already been found. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many dead martial artists. This secret realm was huge, and the chances of martial artists running into each other weren't great. So many dead fighters in one place could only mean a big fight. Realizing the yuan qi stone was out in the open, Tian felt a sense of urgency. If it was all mined out, he'd have come all this way for nothing. Let's go. Tian moved forward cautiously. With his spatial awareness, he wasn't worried about surprises. He'd find the enemy first, before they found him. After trekking for miles, he finally spotted a group of people. They were fighting, or more like, surrounding and attacking one person. It's him. Tian recognized one of them. He'd paid special attention to this guy. It was Yunfeng, the supposed top fighter from the Demon Sea base. And he was the one getting ganged up on. The other side had about 20 people, all wearing the same outfits, so they were clearly part of the same group. Yunfeng, you're definitely a top-tier fighter, but you're still no match for us, an older martial artist said coldly. Helian Bai, you were a big shot from the last session, but you've been living in this secret realm for 10 years. You even found a yuan qi stone vein. I don't have a problem with you. I promise not to try and take your yuan qi stone, so why are you coming after me? Even if you kill me, a lot of you will die too, you know that, right? Yun Feng shot back, just as cold. Of course, I do. Helian Bai sneered, but if we can trade some martial artists for your death, Yun Feng, it's totally worth it. Everyone back at the Demon Sea base thinks your cousin Yun Tian's talent for cultivation is off the charts, something special. You're just a good fighter, with average talent. If you had average talent, I wouldn't have bothered with you. But you're not average. Humph, so what if my talent isn't off the charts? You think I can't make it extraordinary? Yun Feng scoffed. Exactly, you are indeed an extraordinary talent. Maybe you were just top tier before, but now you're something else. I bet you found a treasure that boosts your talent while in the secret realm. It actually brought you up a level. I'm jealous. I want a treasure like that. I only had decent talent to start with, and it took me 10 years in this secret realm to get it to the top tier. I planned for ages, just for the chance to improve, so I missed my chance to leave. I thought I was lucky, but you're even luckier. You found a treasure that could raise your cultivation talent to an extraordinary level. Maybe you still have it on you. Helian Bai's eyes gleamed, revealing his greed. Who's going to believe that? Yun Feng smirked. Lies. Helian Wall laughed. Yun Feng, you're staying pretty calm, but what you don't know is that I have a special talent. It's called peaking talent, and it lets me see other people's cultivation talent, as long as they don't surpass me. If you were just top tier, I could see your level, but I can't now. I know exactly what that means. Yun Feng's expression finally changed. I didn't know you had that talent. Fine, I do have extraordinary talent. If you really push me, I can definitely kill you. The clouds and winds threaten Helian Wall. Then let's see it. Helian Bai wasn't scared. He had to kill Yun Feng today. A top fighter with extraordinary talent was a nightmare. Just imagine what he'd be like if he grew up. If Yun Feng ever reached the king level, he'd be the strongest king ever. The Yun family was already powerful, and if they got another unstoppable king, there'd be no holding them back. The Helian family was second only to the Yun family, so they definitely didn't want that. Helian Bai wasn't just after the treasure on Yun Feng for the Helian family. What if Yun Feng had found more than one of those talent-boosting treasures? It was just a possibility, but it was worth it to him to surround and attack Yun Feng. Plus, there was a small Yuan Qi stone vein underground. Once Yun Feng was gone, he'd team up with the other Helian clansmen to kill the terrifying beast guarding the vein. Then, all the Yuan Qi stones would be theirs. Nearby, Yi Tian not only listened to the conversation but also spied on the situation on Yun Feng's side, and couldn't help but be slightly surprised. Yun Feng has extraordinary cultivation talent. He was just top tier before. His luck is insane. He's a total son of fortune. Yi Tian thought. Closer. Getting closer. Swoosh. Yi Tian suddenly teleported behind a boulder about 500 meters away. Because Yi Tian was so fast, he didn't leave a trace, so Yun Feng and the others didn't see him at all. Probe. Instantly copying the talent checked the talent situation of this group. When Yi Tian saw Yun Feng's talent clearly, he couldn't help but smile. The people of the Helian family are finished.